Find out if it's enough to dethrone Samsung's S22 Ultra, which is arguably the king of Android right now. Now, the very first thing that occurred to me as I opened up the package for the first time with absolutely no idea of what this was going to look like was, wow. The 12S Ultra is the best designed phone Xiaomi has ever made. It's a really rounded, seamless body that actually feels like it was designed with your hands in mind. They finally dropped that line of text that they used to have on the Mi 11s, which makes the newer phone cleaner. They've swapped out the glossy finish for this matte, leather-like one, and I think it's perfect. I genuinely think this is the one type of finish that can feel both premium and practical. It's got a hint of softness, zero fingerprints, plus it's really grippy. It feels like the body of a professional camera. And speaking of cameras, for me this is the biggest design improvement is how Xiaomi has presented them here. You know all that scattered complexity that top-end phone cameras have started to exude, like the Vivo X80 Pro and even Xiaomi's last Ultra phone, where there's just so many distinct elements. I really think this central uniform circle is the antidote to that. It doesn't make the protrusion any less, but it's so much neater. And so when compared to Samsung, when you factor in that the symmetry of the Xiaomi practically eliminates all table wobbling, how its curved corners are less jabby, how the texture on its back is less slippery, and as a bonus, how it's easier to clean the dust buildup around one big ring as opposed to 5 smaller rings, I think Xiaomi's made enough sensible decisions for me to give this design category to them. So then you flip the phone around and you're greeted with a familiar sight. On first glance, this is pretty much the cookie-cutter format of how 90% of Android phones now look from the front. The screen has been updated to fit the 2022 spec. It's now based on, funnily enough, Samsung's E5 panel technology for better battery efficiency, and it's also now able to match the S22 Ultra's extreme levels of brightness. I'm actually in a huge park in the middle of Greenville, North Carolina right now, and this is still very usable, even in like the middle of the hot American summer. But it's nothing you haven't seen before. And bizarrely, since the company's last Mi 11 Ultra, the screen bezels have actually gotten thicker and the viewing angles worse, which I can't help but be disappointed by. And it's enough for me to err towards Samsung in the screen category. But then I started properly using the phone, and I was just shocked at how fast the 12S is. It absolutely flies. And when you pair that speed with the lively animated MIUI 13 software skin, it's a visual spectacle. I mean, don't get me wrong, MIUI is not perfect. It's notoriously a little bloated with pre-installed apps, and it seems quite aggressive in restricting the use of third-party launchers, which is kind of a shame.
更多優惠盡在 Foodpanda。嗌外賣梗係嗌 Foodpanda。
It's 2022, and let's be honest, smartphones have never been as confusing as they are right now. We've got flagships, we've got mid-rangers pretending to be flagships, we've got foldables, rollables, mini phones, massive phones, so I'm just gonna lay it down as it is. I'm going to show you the best phone for each of the 7 different kinds of user, leading up to the best overall phone of the year so far, and then topped off with the worst phone, which we're going to punish on camera. So let's start with the design-conscious user. For those of you who really value the look and the feel of a smartphone, 2022 has been a great year. I really like how Samsung streamlined their S21 Ultra with the new S22 Ultra. Xiaomi's had a similar glow-up. Their Mi 12 Pro, it looks way cleaner than last year's Mi 11. But I think the most design-conscious device is actually from Sony. Sony's new Xperia 1 Mark IV, from a hardware perspective at least, it's an absolute pleasure. It's narrow enough that it fits perfectly in your palm. It's got a matte finish that says goodbye to fingerprints, a dedicated camera shutter button, and even a SIM card and micro SD card tray that you can access with just your fingers. All right, brand new category time. Because this year, I also want to award the most eco-conscious phone. And no, not giving points for excluding the charger. There's 3 companies that stand out here. One is Nokia, who've started doing a lot of different things to play their part. Like they give good software support and large batteries, so your phone lasts as long as possible. They give at least 2 years of warranty for repairs, in case something goes wrong. And they even plant trees for every single purchase. One is Apple, whose latest devices are made from about 20% recycled materials, like even used water bottles. Plus, Apple is ahead when it comes to offsetting the pollution caused by its manufacturing with other green projects that they invest in. And their phones also have the longest life cycle when it comes to updates. But if you wanted to go all in on the eco front, there is only one phone for you, the Fairphone 4. This is kind of like a run-of-the-mill $500 phone, but with its screen and specs downgraded, and then all of that extra budget used to make it as sustainable as possible. I mean, even its presentation it's about as au naturel as you can get. They built it such that the entire thing can be taken apart with just fingers and a simple screwdriver, so it's extremely repairable. The company promises that for every phone they sell, they'll recycle an equal amount of electronic waste. Plus, this thing doesn't come with like 1 year or 2 years of warranty, it comes with 5. It's almost not fair to the other phones. Now, what if you've got smaller hands though? Don't know why I'm doing this, mine are enormous. It is a genuine problem though. You have the budget, you want the best phone you can get, but most good devices are the size of your face. Well, thankfully, Samsung has actually done a really good job with their base Galaxy S22. It isn't anything special in the hardware department, but it is cheaper than last year's S21, and it's just so polished for such a dinky little device. Plus, there is also the Samsung Galaxy Z Flip 3, which, because it folds, is even more compact. Both of these are capable phones for their size. I would just be a little careful if you're a real enthusiast and you want your top-tier battery life. The other good option is the iPhone 13 mini. Apple has also released an updated iPhone SE this year, which
Hello， 大家好，今天视频的主角是小米12S Pro， 它是小米最新的次旗舰产品，官方定价在5000左右。那么它的整体表现如何，值不值得推荐呢？接下来我就跟大家分享一些使用体验和购买建议。小米12S Pro 外观和12 Pro 没有什么区别，我就不多介绍了。按照官网参数，我手上这一台玻璃版本重量是204克，厚度是8.16毫米，机身宽度74.6毫米，不算大板砖，但是也谈不上轻薄。
我是黄江南。今天呢，我给大家做一个
趋势大師預測啊，我們即將迎來全球金融市場。
大陸政府係收
喺香港開網店咁大件事冇人講，揾 Shopline 啦！全球25萬品牌選用，提供 PayMe、轉數快、Alipay、順豐等香港最受歡迎物流付款配套。開網店、直播帶貨、實體 POS、Shopline 一次搞掂。喺香港開網店咁大件事冇人講，揾 Shopline 啦！全球25萬品牌選用，提供 PayMe、轉數快、Alipay、順豐等香港最受歡迎物流付款配套。開網店、直播帶貨、實體 POS、Shopline 一次搞掂。